I was first in about 1992 when I decided to really start looking into hair transplantation. And because I work in the medical industry, I was looking at a lot of doctors who I had personal and professional relationships with throughout the United States and even some in Europe. And wasn't really happy in a lot of the work and the technology and the techniques that were used at that time. So I kind of put it off for a while. And I happened upon Matt and also Dr. Shapiro one night, and Matt was telling me that Dr. Shapiro did hair transplantation, and I go, okay, yeah, if I had a nickel for every time doctor told me he could do it, you know, I'd be financially stable. Well, time went on, I checked into Dr. Shapiro a little bit more and saw the work that he was doing. And one thing about Dr. Shapiro, he's an artisan. It was pretty amazing to see his work in comparison to other doctors across the board, unequivocally across the board. And I'm very finicky about my hair. And I can tell you that I made a decision to go with him. I've had 3 procedures thus far, 92, 94, and 98. Every single time it kept getting better and better and better. And I have gotten a lot of calls from people, and literally across the world, that have called me and said, hey, I'm thinking of coming into this Minnesota. I think I'm coming into America. What do you think of Dr. Shapiro? And hands down, and I'm not being paid for this, to say that I would not send anywhere except to Dr. Shapiro. Several years back, and about 6 of us were lined up from various doctors across the United States, and these so-called gurus were picking in my hair and picking in other people's hair. And one doctor, he's on TV all the time, he expounds that he's the greatest. I can tell you, he walked up to me, started going through my hair and said, this guy has never had a hair transplant done. He's a fraud. Dr. Shapiro came up with my before picture, and this guy shut up. He was totally amazed. None of the doctors could believe that I had one done. I go to hairstylists now. If I don't tell them it, they would never guess it. And it even, got me back into doing some minor acting and some modeling again, and helped my business and personal, life tremendously. One time, after I had my first procedure done, I had a meeting the next morning. I had baseball cap on. I go to the meeting, with a nice suit on. They're kind of looking, what the heck's wrong with this guy? And I said, well, I have a little rash. I took off my hat. And they're like, well, I don't see any rash. They saw nothing. I was more paranoid than those people. I went through the rest of the week without anything. I had 0 swelling. I didn't have to worry about it at all. So, a lot of people ask me about the financial, ramifications, if you will. You know what? I'd do it again in a second. And, I'm not a wealthy man, and I decided to do this because it made such a big difference to me. And it fit my persona. I wanted to have hair. I'm young now. I don't want to be bald and be hairless. And people, I don't care what they say, they do perceive people with no hair a lot different than the guy with hair. It's always happened that way. It'll continue to happen that way. So that's why I'm real excited, and I'm glad I went with Dr. Shapiro.